It won't be like you're not a part of Facebook. You're not a part of Facebook.
My name's on the masthead.
You might want to check again.
Oh, if you already know the answers to your questions, then why ask?
What's the most you ever lost on a coin toss?
I like the way you die, boy.
I don't want to be a product of my environment.
Now answer my question. Were you rushing or were you dragging?
My boy's awake at smile.
Hello and welcome back to the Film Fixation Podcast. I'm your host, Austin Hyatt, and this is my co-host, Jaron Allred.
What's up?
Happy to be back again. This week we watched Asteroid City and Past Lives. We'll mainly focus on Asteroid City, but then we'll also touch on Past Lives a little bit. So, here's Jaron with some film news.
Hey guys. All right. So, starting off with some news here. The Flash. Great film, by the way. It flopped, which is surprising. Flopped at the box office. It opened far below Black Adam, which was almost as bad a film as The Flash. So that makes me feel good, you know?
Yeah.
People listened to our last pod and they decided not to go see this movie. So,
Yeah, we had over 30 million downloads on our last pod.
Yeah.
And I guess that just kind of swayed the box office, so
Yeah,
pretty good.
exactly. You guys are awesome. All right. And then we got our first trailer for Kraven the Hunter, which I think is the first rated R, like Sony Marvel project.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we looked at that. I don't know. It looks pretty violent.
Yeah.
Looks
It totally turned me off.
Really?
The whole idea. I mean, I didn't have high hopes going in.
yeah,
But the trailer really didn't look good to me.
really. Well, Kraven, I mean, he's named Kraven the Hunter,
Yeah.
and he doesn't kill animals in this movie adaptation.
Yeah. And you could tell in the trailer, it seems like he's
He
like
just kills
using
people.
animals to kill people,
Yeah,
which is weird.
a little weird, but
And
Russell Crowe.
Yeah, Russell
Crowe's
Crowe's
in
his
it.
dad.
Yeah.
He's now been Hercules' dad in Thor: Love and Thunder.
Uh-huh.
Who was the other? He was
And
another superhero.
Superman's dad.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So-
Another dad project for him.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, they can't beat Morbius, you know.
No.
'Cause there's no way Craven's going to be as good as that.
No.
So yeah. All right, Letterboxd has officially started filtering reviews. They have weighted ratings now. So Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse was the number one highest ranked movie of all time. Now it's like third or fourth, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure. And I think,
Let's see.
I don't know which is first. At the time that they started doing it, it was a Japanese,
Yeah, it's that samurai one.
film. And then Come and See. Wow, it's like, it's seventh behind Godfather Part 2
Yeah.
and Seven Samurai. Just in front of The Godfather. Yeah.
Which is interesting. I mean, I like that they're making changes to better reflect the quality of films, but they also said that it was to better reflect the Letterboxd community,
Huh.
which I think is strange because
I feel like all of the community freaked out over Across the Spider-Verse.
exactly, like
Yeah.
the reason it was number one is because by just sheer votes, it was so ahead of anything else.
Yeah.
And so if you really want to reflect how the people feel, why not just do a straight across?
I know.
But
It's got more than double the amount of reviews
yeah,
than The Godfather or Part 2. So, yeah, don't really like that. So, but I mean, every review service is doing that nowadays. So,
yeah, I'm more okay with Letterboxd doing it than IMDb or Rotten Tomatoes, whoever we talked about last time.
yeah,
So
both of them. So,
yeah,
okay. We talked about this, but Jensen Ackles says he would love to play Batman in
Yeah.
the new DC universe. Don't really like that. That's okay. Nice of you to offer. You know, extremely nice of you. But I think I'm gonna personally pass. Don't really know who I want as Batman, but
Are you still in contact with DC? Weren't they reaching out to you about it?
No, I kind of cut ties after the Flash.
that's
with
smart.
those guys. I don't want to be associated.
Right.
Yeah. So okay, Tom Cruise rumored to be in talks for a future DC project. I don't know how much validity there is to that.
Yeah, no way.
I doubt it. He was gonna be Iron Man. Did you know that?
Yeah.
He was the first choice for that, but declined. I don't think he had time or
No.
he didn't want to sign on for all these Marvel projects, And I'm glad he didn't. So, I mean, everybody is. Okay. Sony removes El Muerto, which is a Spider-Man project spin-off, from its calendar
Yeah.
of upcoming releases. I didn't even know this existed.
Oh, really?
It's got Bad Bunny. He was
Yeah.
supposed to star.
Yeah, I was privy to that. Like, I think they announced it probably a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And it was just because I remember it was before Bullet Train, and then Bad Bunny was in Bullet Train, which is another Sony movie.
Oh, okay.
And he's in it for like 5 minutes, but he's not an actor, and you can tell.
He's not good.
And so I was like, they can't have this guy as the front man of a
Yeah,
of
of
an
a
entire
Spider-Man
yeah.
movie. Yeah, that seems silly.
And I think El Muerto in the comics, he's Mexican for one. Bad Bunny's Puerto Rican, so that was weird too. And El Muerto only appears in like 2 or 3 issues, like in the whole run of Spider-Man.
And he is a Spider-Man? Or
No, he's a Spider-Man villain.
Oh, he's a villain. Okay.
But he's so minor that people were like, why would anybody want this? So
Okay.
it's good that they're cutting it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get the script for Morbius too. Okay?
Seriously, yeah.
Quit.
Well, Jared Leto's got it, so
He does.
we just
yeah.
got to trust the process.
Okay. And then so the Flash officially tied for the lowest DC Universe cinema score. I don't think it should tie. I think it should take the cake. It got a B. Cinema Score gave it a B, and that's the lowest for a DC project.
That's insane.
That's ridiculous. I mean, why? Like Batman versus Superman, that was a bad film. That was horrible. Wonder Woman, 1984. These should be like D to F range. I guess I'm not familiar with Cinema Score very much.
Yeah, maybe
so I don't know
B's
how
the
they're-
lowest.
That better be the lowest.
Yeah. But again, you and I have talked about this a lot. Sorry to Tristan and to my friend Randy, who loved this movie, their favorite movie.
Sorry.
Jaron and I must just be anomalies in our hatred for it. So
Honestly, we're the minority of people who saw The Flash. That's so strange to me.
crazy.
Yeah. Okay. And last bit of film news, the new Star Wars movie, New Jedi Order, the story details were revealed. A little bit of a spoiler here, but it says it is set roughly 15 years after Rey's victory over Palpatine at the end of Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker. The sequel delves into Rey's courageous endeavor to restore the Jedi Order, where she assumes the role of a mentor to 2 promising young students, a girl and a boy. As her training progresses, it becomes evident that the girl possesses extraordinary abilities destined to emerge as the future leader.
Yeah, I mean, seems it's the same story. This is like the 3rd time they've done a brother sister or male female pair.
Yeah.
Super dumb. We'll cover it on our Star Wars podcast. Feel free to tune into that, Disciples of the Force. But
Yeah.
just no imagination over there at Disney Star Wars, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. I just let Daisy Ridley do other stuff. Maybe she can't get any other jobs, honestly.
Yeah, I hope that's not the case.
I mean,
'Cause I
she
think
was
she's
in
fine.
Chaos Walking and Star Wars.
Yeah.
Have you seen her in anything else?
No.
Maybe she's typecast as Rey and she can't get another project.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
I don't know. I just don't. Who wants this? I don't. Do you?
I was excited for it until that announcement
Till that. Okay.
that it's going to be like another cookie cutter story. I thought they could be more imaginative, but
Yeah. Did
Yeah.
you see The Acolyte got canceled? I sent you a TikTok about it.
yeah, I'm really disappointed about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true. That
It's
was
a
rumor.
rumor.
right?
Yeah.
I really hope that's not the case because, I mean, not to go off course too much, but The Acolyte would be like the best thing for Disney.
Really?
well, the best thing for Star Wars, like the most outlandish thing they've ever done.
What's it about?
Well, it's set in the in the High Republic era, so before the prequels, and it follows a Sith acolyte.
Mm-hmm.
So you're seeing everything from the point of view of the dark side.
Oh, okay.
And it stars Amanda Stanberg, I think is her name. She was in Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. She was also in the new Spider-Verse movie.
Oh, yeah, no, I know her.
Yeah, so it stars her, and she's the Sith acolyte. So
Okay.
you follow her through this High Republic era, which would have been awesome. So I really
It's
hope
live
that's not-
action?
Yeah, live action.
Okay.
It's a series, unfortunately, but so yeah,
That
it will
does-
be exciting if it
that's
goes
an
through.
interesting concept.
Yeah, it is.
Jeez. All right. And then we got some set photos of some stills from the Avatar movie. I think it looks kind of ridiculous. Very childish. The costumes.
from Avatar:
Yeah.
The Last Airbender. Okay, yeah,
Did I
I was
say that?
thinking Avatar.
Yeah, no,
James
Avatar:
Cameron.
The Last Airbender. I mean, it's hard to have a boy with an arrow on his head look like a grounded character, but it's
Yeah.
just it looks a lot like the M. Night Shyamalan version of it.
But a lot of people are really excited about this casting,
They are.
about that kid, and I haven't seen the series in forever, but the brother. A lot of people are excited. About
Well, I know they were
this
excited
coming.
about the casting. I'm just
Yeah.
talking about like the costume designs.
Yeah, and the
you know.
visuals. Yeah,
I mean, that's all I can judge this off of.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law said it looked dumb, and he's a big Avatar: The Last Airbender fan. So
If Spencer ever joins this podcast again, he could give us some insight into that.
he could.
Yeah, he's a big Airbender fan.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought just Legos and Minecraft.
Mostly Minecraft, Roblox, all that stuff.
Yeah.
but yeah.
When he comes on, he'll give us the Minecraft news and
Yeah.
Roblox. All right, so that's about it for the film news. So today we're going to be talking about Asteroid City. We're going to touch a little bit on Past Lives, which Austin and I saw last night, and but yeah, we're going to mainly be talking about Asteroid City because that's what we were prepared to talk about a little bit. So yeah, Austin, why don't you give us the synopsis?
Okay. So here's the synopsis for Asteroid City. This is Wes Anderson's newest film. Set in a fictional American desert town circa 1955, the itinerary of a junior stargazer / space cadet convention organized to bring together students and parents from across the country for fellowship and scholarly competition is spectacularly disrupted by world-changing events. Starring Jason Schwartzman, Scarlett Johansson, Tom Hanks, Jake Ryan, Jeffrey Wright, Tilda Swinton, Bryan Cranston, Edward Norton, and so on. A lot of people, ton of people in this.
A lot.
Maya
Don't
Hawke.
forget Margot.
Margot Robbie for 5 seconds. Willem Dafoe. Yeah, a lot of people. Stephen Park, Rupert Friend. Ton of people.
Live Schreibert. Did you get him?
Let's see. I'll just go through all of them.
I'm just kidding. No. Yeah, lots of people. Stacked cast.
Yeah, it's got a 76% on Rotten Tomatoes for the critic score and a 65% for the audience score, which seems pretty low.
It is low. Yeah.
I mean, what do you think of the movie?
I mean, I really liked it. Wes is just doing what he does best.
Yeah.
A lot of actors, I think, at this point in their careers, whether it's like their 10th, 11th film, they know what the critics think of them. They know what the audience thinks of them. And sometimes they make like a movie kind of like making fun of themselves in their own style. And they dive into it. They don't try to like listen to their critics and change things up. And I mean, Wes, he's the most like stylistic director that we have.
Yeah.
And anybody can see that watching a Wes Anderson film, just the way he frames things, the symmetry, the monotone line readings of his actors and actresses. Like the kids are always smarter than the adults.
Yeah.
And I could, bunch of things. But this one, it was, we've seen it all before from Wes, and it can feel a little bit repetitive, I think, at times. I really enjoyed it. It still had its charm for me. And I appreciate the style. It's not like, he's not my favorite director. I'm like a big Wes Anderson like stan, you know. I'd say he's definitely top 10, top 15,
Yeah.
you know, around
Yeah.
there. But he just doesn't make poor movies, you know, and that's one of the things I really like about him. I mean, some directors take big risks, you know, and make movies that don't perform well. But Wes, I mean, it's just been, there's a floor that he has, you know. I don't think
Yeah.
his ceiling is quite as high as some of the other directors that we have. And this is a prime example of that. But I mean, I appreciate that, you know, I always know that it's going to be a good movie.
Right.
Every single one of his films that I've watched, I've liked and enjoyed. And I enjoyed this one. You know, I mean, I was smiling most of the time.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't like checking my watch at all, just, you know, sitting there enjoying it. It's very quirky and a lot of funny. I mean, it's a very dry humor, which I like. And there were some moments where, I mean, maybe some random person in the audience is laughing at something that nobody else is laughing at, you know, and that happened to us a couple times where we thought something was super funny and nobody else really did, or, you know, vice versa. And I just like that there's so much different humor for different people to appreciate in this movie. And all of our friends seem to have liked it. You know, I'd look at Letterboxd and people are giving it 4 stars, 4.5.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a great movie. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. What do you think?
Yeah, it's sitting at a 3.8 on Letterboxd right now. I gave it a 4. You gave it a 4.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about this. Mine's a little bit of a softer 4. Like I might move it to a 3.5 on a second watch.
Mm.
But again, like you said, the high floor, low ceiling
Yeah.
is a great way to say it for Wes. Like I'm not a huge fan of Wes Anderson films.
Yeah.
But like you said, he's just a master of his craft, and you know what you're getting every time you go into a Wes Anderson movie.
Yeah.
And it's just he's still there hasn't been a decrease in quality, I don't think.
No, definitely not.
Especially in just the way he makes the movies. I think what this movie didn't do well for me is just the story and character development. When you get a huge cast like this, and I don't think that's the point of a Wes Anderson film, is to really explore, you know, an intimate story. I think it's more about just like overall vibe. I don't know how to say it.
Humor. Yeah.
Like there were some things in this movie that I didn't like by the end of it, like Woodrow, the teenage stargazer. Like, did he ever have any closure with his romance?
Yeah.
He did?
They were like making out the last like 2 seconds of the, you know, when like everything kind of erupts, you know?
Yes.
You didn't see that?
No.
Yeah. They just started kissing and stuff.
Okay. Then I stand corrected.
But it was kind of just like thrown, you know, in there at the end. It's supposed to be like, I mean, this movie, it's got different layers to it. There's 3 layers.
Yeah.
So Bryan Cranston is narrating this, what looks like a public, like a
PBS special.
Yeah, like a PBS special of the making of Asteroid City. And you get a behind the scenes look at the writer, who's Edward Norton's character, and the actors, who are all these actors in the play Asteroid City, and then you get Asteroid City the play. So it's a very inventive way to tell the story. And at first, like in the beginning, I'm like, why are they doing it this way? You know, I didn't really understand it. It was black and white. I was like, I'd rather just spend time in Asteroid City. Mm-hmm. You know, it seemed to be the most interesting at the time. But by the very end of it, I grew to appreciate it, you know, because it's like these actors are trying to understand their characters and their motivations, you know, like Jason Schwartzman, he's like, why does he burn his hand on the stove, you know? And Adrian Brody's like, oh, it doesn't matter. Just tell the story, you know?
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. There's something deep to that.
Something about it.
Something, yeah.
Well, that's what I liked too. As you say, it's really inventive and unique. I liked how they used kind of like the playbills to show the different acts, and then if you looked, it showed the scene numbers as well.
Yeah.
and it was accurate. So like it would show scene 12 through 17, and then there would be 12 through 17. So you knew exactly how much time you were spending in Asteroid City.
Yeah,
And
I really
when
like
the next
that.
break was, which was really cool.
Mhm.
And I just looked. The runtime for this movie was 105 minutes. Really short movie, all
Yeah.
things considered, with such a big cast and such an inventive way to tell the story in those kind of 3 layers. That's a lot to fit into so little time.
Yeah,
And I think it was paced pretty well. Again, I think if they would have had more time, I would have liked it more to kind of explore the characters again, like you said, explore Asteroid City.
yeah,
But all things considered, that's pretty great how good of an outcome it was with so little time.
yeah. And I agree with you. I mean, with such a stacked cast, it's near
Yeah.
impossible to, to get to the bottom of all these characters. I mean, people just show up for probably like a few days on set, and just read
Yeah.
a few lines. Like Matt Dillon, his character,
Uh-huh.
he's just in that kind of opening scene where he's fixing the car.
Right.
And that didn't take long. And I mean, he does show up like kind of in the background.
Yeah,
of a
throughout
bunch
the movie.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of just characters in the background doing stuff. Like, do you notice like the little girls, the Jason Schwartzman's daughters,
The daughters.
were like just always doing stuff in the background, like trying to bury
Yeah.
their mom.
Yeah.
I thought that was just funny to watch.
Yeah, the humor is, I mean, there were a ton of times that we were chuckling. I really liked Woodrow. Like, he was the funniest character for me.
You think so?
Yeah. Well, no, I think Steve Carell was maybe the funniest.
Yeah,
It's hard to say.
it is hard to say because it's all their humor is like different.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I would really love if I were an actor, especially like a seasoned actor like a Steve Carell or a Tom Hanks or Tilda Swinton, to be a part of a movie like this, where it seems like the director has so much control over every single aspect of the movie.
Yeah,
To kind of not worry so much about acting and just play the part, because it really is amazing that he can have such a large and diverse cast and get them to do exactly what he wants,
yeah. You know
It's
who I thought
crazy.
was the funniest was Ricky Cho. He was the Asian kid. who,
Okay, yeah.
Like gets past the security guards, making the phone call,
Uh-huh.
and then they're doing that interview with him, trying to get the details out of him and stuff, and he's
Right.
just like standing up to him. That was funny.
That was funny.
Yeah, he was a funny guy. I mean, the kids, the geniuses,
Yeah, all the Stargazer kids, space cadets
Yeah.
were funny.
they were like probably my favorite, like little storyline that was
Yeah.
going on was just those guys bonding, and even the kid who was like, "Dare me to do this, dare me to do that,"
Yeah.
and they just get more and more ridiculous each time. And that one, I mean, we'll get into it like on favorite scenes and stuff, but
Okay.
yeah, just funny stuff. So, so yeah, very enjoyable movie for me. Why don't we get into? Let's just get into the categories. Then.
Let's do
Why don't we?
categories.
Okay, favorite part. This was kind of hard. I mean, because it's cut so like quickly. We
Yeah.
move from different scenes all the time. I don't think anything from the behind the scenes really was. I mean, all that didn't really resonate with me,
Oh, yeah.
except for when Jason Schwartzman is talking to Margot Robbie about
Yeah, that was cool.
their because Margot Robbie, I was really nervous that she wasn't going to be in this movie that much because near the beginning we see her in a photograph and it's Jason Schwartzman's dead wife, and she died 3 weeks prior to like 3 weeks prior in the play,
Yeah.
and he's just barely telling his kids about it, which is strange. And so he's like trying to figure out his character. He goes outside because he's kind of freaking out and he needs some fresh air. And he sees Margot Robbie across the way on this other balcony, and she was like, "Oh, I played your wife, but my scenes got cut." And he's like, "Why was that?" Like, runtime probably.
Yeah.
But they were supposed to be like, and they talk about how there was supposed to be this dream sequence where she tells him that he needs to watch out for the kids now, and it's going to be his responsibility. And it was like, it sounds like it was going to be an emotional
Yeah.
scene, you know, and it's something that, like, if that was real life, you probably would have wished it was in the movie. But I thought it was a great way to, like, get that character development.
Yeah.
That would have been lacking in this new inventive and creative way, you know, where they're just talking about the scene.
Yeah, I think that makes you like appreciate the scene that would have been even more.
Yeah.
And that scene where they're talking outside is just beautiful. Like, it's in black and white.
Mm-hmm.
There's snow falling. And of course, you know, Wes Anderson, symmetry, the way he just frames those close-ups of Margot, just awesome. That was a great scene.
Probably really easy to make a scene look good with Margot in there.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
So yeah, I really liked that. But, like, I mean, Jason Schwartzman kind of selling himself to Edward Norton, that was just kind of went on. It was very performative, you know. I mean, I already know my favorite scene. It was when the alien showed up.
That was mine too.
Yeah, it's obvious. It was so crazy. So they're meeting up inside of this meteorite hole, and they're doing this, like, science project presentation. All the young geniuses in the group are presenting, and once you, like, get to the near end of it, there's, like, this kind of a signal that they have going on.
Yeah.
And the geniuses are like, why does that say today? And it's like something with aliens or whatever, extraterrestrials. And then all of a sudden there's a spaceship that shows up, like, overhead of everybody. And there's this, it just goes so slowly and it looks so perfect. And then these claymation legs just, like, pop out of the bottom of the spaceship. And at first I was like, oh no, like, I hope this is good. Like, this is, you know, this is a risk he's taking right here, making this, like, half claymation, you know, half live action right now.
Well, that's what I was most excited for going into this movie, was seeing how Wes Anderson did Aliens. Because that's so far out of his realm of what he's done, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he usually does kind of like an antique look to everything.
Yeah.
So I was really interested how the alien and the ships were going to look. And so I thought that was perfect.
Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. It was so funny. The alien is just moving so slowly through the scene, and everybody's so, like deer in the headlights, you know, just watching this alien work. And he just comes, takes this little meteorite, and Jason Schwartzman, he's a photographer, his character that he's playing, and he just snaps a photo. He goes to snap a photo of the alien, and the alien kind of just poses for a second with the meteorite. That was just so funny.
Very funny.
And then he just leaves. And then everybody's kind of held there for quarantine, and, you know, the play goes on. But we were just dying. We were just laughing that whole sequence.
Yeah, I don't know why that was so funny.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was. And it was even better at near the end when they're back in the sequence where they're doing, like, behind the scenes of the play, and Jason Schwartzman is trying to figure out why he burns his hand.
Mm-hmm.
He's walking by, and it's Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
Who's the alien, which is just super funny. And he's, like, explaining to the makeup girl, like, his motives for his process.
He was like, it's
really
supposed
funny.
to be a metaphor.
Yeah.
That's such a pretentious thing to say, you know, and it's like, I mean, he's only in the scene, the play for, you know, like a minute.
Yeah, a minute, and his face isn't shown at all.
Yeah. And he's got, like, all of this character development that he's been thinking of himself, you know.
Right.
That's where I think Wes Anderson is just, like, poking fun at, you know, himself, and, like,
yeah.
how a lot of his characters are supposed to have, like, metaphors and stuff, like in Fantastic Mr. Fox, like the wolf that shows up, you know, for like 10 seconds.
It's one of my favorite scenes in all of Wes Anderson. Yeah.
I don't even know. I can't even remember what it's about. I've had it explained to me, like, what the wolf is supposed to represent.
I don't know what it represents, but it's just funny because they're just seeing this wolf at a distance, and they're, like, trying to figure out why he's there and why he's looking at them.
Yeah.
And then George Clooney's character, Mr. Fox, just, like, raises his fist, and then the wolf in the distance just, like, raises his fist.
Yeah.
It's just really funny. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's that dry Wes Anderson humor.
Yeah. Great scene.
Yeah.
So it reminded me of that a little bit, and I really appreciated it. So, and then there was one moment that made me laugh really hard. It was Scarlett Johansson, she's in this, and her and Jason Schwartzman have kind of started this relationship that's going on. And we don't really know exactly like everything that they're doing. You know, it kind of happens off camera. As we pass like a week into the future, we miss some stuff. But he's a photographer. He takes a photo of her, and then it's got to develop, because this is set in the 1950s. And so then the next day, he's also developing the alien photo, and she peers across the window and she says, "How did it come out?" He shows her the photo of the alien holding the meteorite, and she goes, "No, the other one." And it's the one of her that she wants to see. I don't know why it made me laugh so hard, but it did. And I was like annoyingly like laughing too long, where I had to like quietly laugh.
Right. Where
you guys I didn't want you guys to hear me laughing that long because I was embarrassed. But I don't know, just stuff like that. Like, when his humor hits, it really hits. But if it doesn't, I mean, you're at least gonna like smile or in your head be like, "That was funny. That was clever."
Yeah. And it played perfectly into her character too, because she's like this kind of detached starlet. Like, she doesn't even really interact with her kid that much.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's pretty self-centered.
Yeah.
And so it was just really, really funny.
Do you think Scarlett Johansson? What do you think of her as an actress?
I really haven't seen her much other than Marvel stuff.
That's all.
She's great in Her, but she's not even in that. It's just she's a voice actor in Her.
Yeah.
It's my favorite role of hers, probably.
She's supposed to, don't you think she's like an A-lister? Like that's what she's known for,
I would consider her an A-lister, yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. Let's look at her.
What are you looking up?
Just her filmography.
Okay. It's like more than half is going to be Marvel projects. She was in Lost in Translation, I know that. But that was like before Marvel.
Right. She's in Marriage Story. She's very good in that.
Yeah.
That's a 5-star movie for me.
Yeah.
She's also in Ghost in a Shell, which I think that was a
that.
pretty bad movie. I think that was received poorly.
Yeah.
Oh, Jojo Rabbit.
Oh, okay.
And The Prestige. So
I don't think she's right in The Prestige.
I haven't seen The Prestige, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Are you going to watch it?
I'll watch it this week.
Yeah. That one's really good. Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman, man. And it's a Nolan film.
But so, yeah, she's got some good ones. But I remember when she was cast in the Marvel movies that it was kind of a big deal.
Really?
Like, that was when we were so young. That was probably...
That's
maybe
when we were
she was
what?
just a big deal when we were young.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe she was a big deal in my sphere, but...
Emily Blunt was supposed to be Black Widow first, originally.
Really?
Yeah, did you know that?
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
No, she was cast, but she had signed a contract and she needed to be in another movie that was being filmed around the same time as Iron Man 2, and she couldn't get out of it, or she was going to lose like millions of dollars. But she really wanted to play Black Widow.
Wow, what a miss.
I'm
she would have been glad she wasn't in it, but...
but...
Just because I like her other stuff.
Oh, you do, yeah.
But Scarlett Johansson, now that I say Her, Jojo Rabbit, Marriage Story, good stuff.
Yeah, I kind of want to backtrack a little bit.
Yeah.
I was kind of giving off a vibe like I didn't really see it that much, but she is great. I don't know.
She is great.
But I feel like in this role, you could have gone with another actress. Like, she doesn't really have this personal flair that was needed.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like because Wes Anderson has so much control over his movies, I feel like you could pick and choose, like you could swap actors for every single role and it would work.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could have literally anybody else be the Scarlett Johansson character and it would work fine.
Okay, yeah. All right. Any other favorite parts that we want to mention?
No, that's probably it for me.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah.
Least favorite part. I've got one immediately comes to mind, and that's when Scarlett Johansson is talking to the what's his name, the kid actor. His name's Jake Ryan in real life.
Oh, Woodrow.
Yeah. This is like in the production of Asteroid City, like the making of.
Oh yeah.
Where it's black and white. But they're just talking on the train about she's like gonna leave the play,
mm-hmm.
and he's trying to tell her not to go, or he's conveying a message from who was it? Was it Edward Norton's character?
I didn't even. That's the thing is there were so many different names because of that multi-layered storytelling. I couldn't keep track.
I got lost a little bit, so I was lost in that scene.
Because when I watched that, I thought it was Jason Schwartzman's character for some reason.
Oh, really?
But it makes more sense if it was Edward Norton's.
Yeah.
Was he dead by that point?
He died?
Yeah.
What?
He died during production.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I
don't know.
When did that happen?
I don't know, but Bryan Cranston announced it.
He did?
He's like heartbreaking at the age of 50, whatever. American playwright Edward Norton's character dies.
Bro, I didn't even notice.
Really? Okay, yeah. Maybe we need to rewatch this.
Definitely
you've
need
said
to
some things
rewatch
where I'm like,
this.
I don't remember that.
I was trying so hard to pay attention to the scene, like how does he want me to view what's going on, like the way he's framing this,
Yeah.
That some of the dialogue. I mean, they talk so quickly, and there's no
Exactly.
You can't get anything from context clues from the way they're talking because they're all talking the same. So you really have to pay attention to exactly what they're saying. So, yeah, I was just lost a little bit, and it's black and white. It goes on a little bit long.
Yeah.
And you get the sense that she's kind of a diva, so you don't really want to spend that much time with that character. So, yeah, I just say that,
Okay. I would say mine is probably when Jason Schwartzman's character is trying to, when he first meets Edward Norton's character in his home.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like given the whole little production. I felt like that lingered a little too long.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Either one of those, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Thank you. Okay. All right. I'm going to get rid of this category. Ideas for a sequel never really makes sense. Because you just can't.
It would make sense with older movies.
Yeah.
With movies that come out right now,
That's true. We'll do that we'll have like separate categories for the older
that'll be
movies
great.
that we do. Is this the greatest movie ever?
No.
No. All right.
It's not even the best. What's your favorite Wes Anderson movie?
Royal Tenenbaums, easily.
Yeah, that's a good one.
What's your favorite?
Probably Fantastic Mr. Fox, but that's a lot of nostalgia.
Really? When did you first watch that?
I first watched it in a car. I was riding up to Island Park with my friends Joss, Aiden, and Rance, and we watched it on the way up.
Okay.
On like a little TV screen. Just really funny for whatever reason, just because we were young and whatever.
That is nice.
But yeah.
I can see why that's your favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we watched it like every time we went to Island Park, Idaho.
Oh, really?
Yeah, every single time. We would watch that. Surf's Up.
Oh, that's a good
And
one.
like Edge of Tomorrow was in the
Surf's Up.
rotation. Yeah, Surf's Up. That's one of my favorite movies ever.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
That's why it's my favorite. Probably Royal Tenenbaums, close second.
Close second.
Yeah.
But I showed you that one, right?
You did, yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't have like an exposure to Wes Anderson until my, early 20s, which I'm still in. But when I was like 20, first one I watched, I was talking to this one girl or whatever, and I knew she was a big Wes Anderson fan. And so I was like, okay, Grand Budapest Hotel won Best Picture. That's the one I should start with. So I just watched that one just so I could tell her that I watched it.
Right.
So I had some sort of conversation starter or whatever. And I really liked it. That one was great. And then I kind of just went along in his filmography. I think Royal Tenenbaums was the one I watched second, where I was like, wow, this was amazing.
Yeah, I really like that one.
Just like the intro, one of the best intros I've ever seen in a movie. They play that, they play Hey Jude, the Beatles, and they just introduce all these characters, and it's Alec Baldwin talking.
Mm-hmm.
And it just like sets such an incredible tone for the rest of the movie. And the characters are so funny. Those are like my favorite Wes Anderson characters. Luke Wilson is the tennis star who, dude, when he like gets the yips, and he loses like every single point in that like tennis finals or whatever. He, like takes off one of his shoes, and they show the broadcast of it. That was just so funny. And he's in love with Gwyneth Paltrow's character.
Yeah.
And then Ben Stiller Just so funny. He needs to be more like Wes Anderson movies because he's my favorite one, like of all time.
Yeah,
He's always wearing that tracksuit.
yeah.
He's got his kids and just
I
so
think
over the top funny, you know?
that movie has the most memorable characters out of Wes Anderson movies.
Yeah.
I think.
No, I'd say so too.
But
yeah. And then I watched Moonrise Kingdom. I just barely watched Bottle Rocket. I thought it was okay. I watched Fantastic Mr. Fox, but I did not pay attention to it, so I can't really say anything about it. I think that's it.
The French Dispatch.
Oh yeah, we saw the
together.
French Dispatch together, and that was okay. We didn't,
Yeah, it's pretty okay.
definitely not as good as Asteroid City. I'll say that.
Yeah, I prefer Asteroid City for sure.
Yeah, Asteroid City is probably like my third or fourth favorite Wes Anderson film. I'll say that, but I'd say the one of the biggest, like my main issue with it, I'd say, is that Royal Tenenbaums, the whole movie kind of leads up to when Ben Stiller says to his dad, like, "It's been a rough year, Dad." You know, and you just feel all that emotion. I think I cried, you know, at the end of that.
Uh-huh.
And you expect like a really heartwarming story from Wes Anderson, you know, and a character that you can connect with and to be really invested, you know. I don't think there was that here, you know. I mean, Jason Schwartzman, they just kind of go along. They do the play. He's trying to discover his character.
Uh-huh.
And he just decides like, oh, it doesn't matter if I don't understand this character. I'm just going to do the play because, you know, whatever, show must go on, you know. And this movie, it's more like Wes. It feels kind of like a love letter to, you know, theater production, trying to save stuff like that, you know. And that's never going to be like the director's best film. I mean, at least in my experience of what I've seen, you know, from my favorite directors when they make films like that. Like, you know, Steven Spielberg, his film like that is the Fablemans.
The Fablemans,
you know,
which
David Fincher, he made one called Mank that was like really personal to him and his dad. Martin Scorsese, I don't really know for him, but yeah. So just wasn't my favorite because I don't feel like it had that personal moment at the end, you know.
Yeah, I feel you.
So
yeah, I agree. Like I said, I didn't really connect with anybody in this film.
Really good though. Okay. Most literally me character.
Woodrow, I think.
Woodrow?
Yeah.
How so?
It's just awkward, you know. I mean, every character in this is, you know, kind of a little awkward, but
yeah,
doesn't know how to talk to girls. That's me for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I just liked him. Everything he did was really funny to me too.
Yeah, that's true. I really liked when he was sitting by himself at lunch.
Yeah.
And the other geniuses are kind of like analyzing his behavior. Like, he's nervous, but there's no sign of intimidation. You know, he's not intimidated by us. He's just awkward.
Right.
I thought that was really funny. But the way they kind of like accept him into the group, that was really cool. But yeah, I'd say him, or I want to say Ricky Chow.
Okay.
He was funny. Just because he was like he was the only one standing up to the government, you know, for keeping them there. He's like, the people have a right to know.
Yeah.
You know, because they're trying to keep the alien landing. You can't even say invasion. It was an alien landing.
Yeah.
Like under wraps, you know. They get like a letter from the president, which Jeffrey Wright reads, and he's like, he reads it for half a second. He's like, he's furious. And he throws the paper. That part was really funny. But yeah, Ricky Chow just like standing up to them. And I really liked that scene where he's calling his buddy, like the editor of the paper or whatever.
Oh yeah.
His mom answers. The phone, and she's like, you think it's somebody of importance, you know, like an older guy or something.
Right.
And she's like, he's already had his tea. He's getting ready for bed. Like, can this not wait till morning? And then he's like, this cannot wait. I wouldn't call if it wasn't of the utmost importance. And then it's like this fat kid.
Yeah, this little fat kid
answers the phone.
And then somehow, because then the next scene is Asteroid City becomes like this tourist attraction. Like
Yeah.
somehow he breaks the news and gets the photo out.
Yeah, he leaks it to
All
the
that-
press,
yeah.
or he writes an article
Yeah.
or whatever about it. So yeah, I really liked. I'd say he was my most relatable.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to remember. Can I tell you why I'm not remembering too much of this movie? I was just thinking as we're talking, I was like, none of these characters really resonated with me. Maybe I just didn't love this movie. I looked back at all the movies I've seen this week, and it's like the least impactful movie I saw this week.
Really,
Because I watched Slapshot on Sunday.
you like that?
I really like that.
I need to watch that.
It's great. Then Blue Valentine, which is like a heart wrencher. Heat.
Oh
One of
wow,
the best movies ever.
Jeez.
Great. Stand By Me, right behind you.
Oh gosh.
Then The Aviator, Martin Scorsese, Leo. And then Past Lives right after it.
Yeah.
So I've watched a lot of high quality films this week. And I think this Asteroid City, just because I don't love Wes Anderson, it all got washed for me.
Really.
So sorry if this podcast is low quality, but
I've been watching like poor quality films.
really,
recently.
what'd you watch this week?
Mosquito Coast. Have you heard of
Okay.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Harrison Ford, right?
Yeah. I'm like halfway through it, but it's got River Phoenix in it. So I
Okay.
wanted to see more of his filmography. And then what else have I seen? And then I watched Bottle Rocket, Spider-Man 3.
Nice. I saw that. I saw you log that.
Yeah, and then just, stuff of Kicking and Screaming, Will Ferrell movie.
Was that funny?
It is funny. The first half is rough because it's like Will Ferrell hasn't gone like full, where he like starts drinking coffee and starts like kicking kids and
Right.
stuff like that. So yeah, the first half was like tough to get through, but then it was good. But some Indiana Jones movies I watched just in prep for, the Dial of Destiny coming out next week.
Right.
Hopefully that's good. It's not looking too good.
It's not looking like
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
So yeah, I think this was my favorite that I watched this week. But then Past Lives came out. Why don't we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. Once we get through the categories, we can run through. Was that our last category?
That is our last.
Oh.
Well, I have facts about production, but I didn't really.
Okay. Yeah. Let's just talk about Past Lives then.
Okay.
Real quick.
So we saw this last night.
I'll pull up the synopsis real quick.
Okay. I'll just give them a rundown. We saw this last night with our friends Zach, Tristan, and Austin's wife Grace. We saw it we had to drive an hour to the theater because it was the only showtime.
Yeah.
It was the
it's an
closest one.
A24 limited release.
Yeah.
So
It's too bad, man. This needs to be in every theater.
Yeah.
I've heard so many good things about it beforehand, from people. But I'm really glad we went and saw it. It was fantastic. It's basically why don't you? Do you have the synopsis pulled up?
yeah. So I've got the synopsis. So Nora and Haesung, two deeply connected childhood friends, are wrest apart after Nora's family immigrates from South Korea. 20 years later, they are reunited for one fateful week as they confront notions of love and destiny. Which that doesn't give a great insight into what the movie is. It's really good.
Yeah.
It's at a 4.2 on Letterboxd right now, 97 critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 92 audience score.
Yeah.
So great stuff. It was this director, Celine Song, I think is her name.
Mm-hmm.
Her directorial debut,
Yeah, that's incredible.
starring Greta Lee, who was awesome. I kind of want to see her in everything now.
Yeah.
Like she was great.
Yeah.
I gave it a 5. You gave it a 4.5, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Really good. Really, it's about, as the synopsis says, these two childhood friends who kind of develop this relationship over time and over distance. And for one reason or another, they just never make it work.
Yeah.
Nora moves on and kind of marries this guy in New York, this American, out of necessity.
Mm-hmm.
Like she needs a green card, she needs to stay, but she really loves him, but it's just kind of convenient. And
Yeah.
then Haesung comes back into her life, and she has to confront these feelings that she had of regret, and
Yeah.
it's really good. Really good.
It is really good. It's it's a slow movie. That's like it feels like a bad way to describe it because it's more like it moves at like a soulful pace.
Yeah.
You know, where it's mainly just conversations being had.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it is just conversations being
Yeah.
had the entire time. But it's great, you know, just like the way the conversation progresses and things that they cover and the way they're able to like express themselves. And like, I'd never seen like like people express themselves like that, you know, like really touch on like every emotion that they're feeling, you know,
Yeah.
and nothing gets left unsaid, which I really like, you know, like at the climax of the movie, you know, whatever what
Right.
happens, they, you know, drift apart, but there's like, you don't feel like, oh, I wish he would have did this or they would have, you know,
Yeah.
done that, you know, it just ends like really peacefully, you know, and you're sad, but it's like, that was the right thing to do.
Exactly. And I
Yeah.
think that's why it's so powerful is because it's relatable. Like you see the pain. And for me, especially, I related with like every character. I related with Nora at some points, with Hae-sung at some points, and with Arthur at some points.
Yeah.
And yeah, by the end, you're like, yeah, that's the only outcome that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But it still hurts.
It does hurt.
So-
yeah. So it's a beautiful movie.
Yeah.
I like don't even feel like I'm authorized. I mean, not authorized, but like good enough to to explain this movie to people because I know how it made me feel. You know, I don't even know how to like say it. You know.
Yeah. Well, it's a really personal movie too. I was talking to Grace about it today. Like that's a movie I wish there are a lot of movies that it's better to see them in theaters, to see them on a big screen. I wish I would have watched that one alone, you know?
Really?
For whatever reason. Just like being in the theater with other people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay. So it's a very personal story. It's a very personal movie.
You wanted to go through the emotions like by yourself.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like I would have connected a little bit more with the movie that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, I feel like I can't. It's up for interpretation. It makes you think a lot. And depending on your experience with relationships or past loves or childhood sweethearts, whatever,
Yeah.
it really dictates how you feel about this movie.
Yeah. That's true.
I almost don't want to talk too much about it and like spoil it because I want
I don't
everybody
want
to go
spoil
see
it
it.
at all.
It's definitely worth the watch. It's also a short one, 106 minutes. But yeah, so great. Celine Song just knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
Whoever did casting for this movie, awesome.
Yeah.
Um,
Dude, we have to say that what's his name? Her husband?
Arthur. I
Arthur?
think, is it? Let me check that. Yeah, Arthur. John Magaro.
Dude, Arthur it was so funny. He is exactly like one of our friends, Spencer. It was
co-host Spencer.
our co-host Spencer. It was insane, man. Like, what was the first thing he did where I was okay, so they're like cuddling on the bed and he's like the little spoon or whatever. He's like a little bit shorter than her, I think, and he's got himself like draped on top of her, like he's got the leg over her and stuff, just cuddling her, and she's laying out like the dude, you know. And I just looked over at these guys. I was like, "That's Spencer." I didn't even need to say anything.
Yeah,
I could have just looked at you guys, and you would have known like what I was trying to tell you guys.
It was hilarious.
It was so funny, and
Because then-
he used these little voices too that Spencer uses all the time. He goes like chicken legs, and I'm like, Spencer's talking in a voice like that, like 25% of his conversations, you know. And she gets home from hanging out with, you know, Hae-sung all day, and he's sitting there with his, you know, headset on, and he's like playing video
Playing
games.
on the-
Yeah.
Oh man, super funny.
Dude, we were dying laughing, like everything that guy was doing, because I don't know, it just reminded us so much of him. It was crazy.
That's not a reflection of Spencer and his dear wife's relationship.
Yeah, no,
I don't
just
think-
Spencer.
Yeah, just Spencer. But so funny.
I
Oh my
know.
gosh.
Oh, jeez.
But yeah, please go watch Past Lives. It's worth the watch. A lot of it's in Korean, so you got to be okay with subtitles or learning
You
Korean.
gotta know how to read. Yeah.
Yeah. But that doesn't bother me at all.
No, but I feel like this is a movie you probably only need to see once. I'll say that. I don't know how we might differ here, but I don't feel like I got everything I needed from it.
I don't think I did.
You don't think so?
That's what I'm saying. Is like
it's gonna be tough a second time. Like read the whole thing.
I don't know,
and
man.
you
I
know
think-
everything that's gonna happen. And like, do you want to spend all that time with them, like on the webcam again? Like 20 minutes.
I think I would. Yeah, I
Just-
think I need to
okay.
revisit this in a more personal setting. But I get what you're saying. There were some points in the movie where I'm on the edge of my seat.
Yeah.
There's no action in this movie at all. Again, like Jaron said, it's just conversations.
Mhm.
But I'm like wondering what they're gonna say next.
Yeah.
Because I know you didn't watch the trailer, but I watched the trailer before, and the trailer really doesn't show any of them like visiting on the webcam. It's all about when he's in New York, and Arthur's like, "Yeah, I'm just the American guy that got in the way of true love, whatever."
Yeah.
And so I was expecting more of that.
Mhm.
So the whole time that they're kind of courting in their relationship, I was just on the edge of my seat, like, when is it going to go downhill? When is it going to spiral out of control to where she needs to be in New York, married to some other guy?
Yeah.
So I get that, where it won't be as nice on the second viewing.
Yeah.
But-
And that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think that's great. You only need to watch it once. Fine.
Okay. I'll watch it a second time. I will. I'll
Okay.
This is a movie I want to show people. I'll say that.
Yeah.
And I will not mind at all, like, watching it with somebody else.
What setting would you show it in, though? Because I always feel bad. Like I love Parasite, which is an all Korean movie, but I would never show that at like a movie night because I feel
There's
bad.
people who
that-
care about film.
Exactly. Yeah. There are a
Not
lot
like
of people
a
who.
group. Like, you can't put this on, like, at a party. There's no
Yeah.
way.
Oh, this at a party? No. Double date?
Yeah. Something like that.
What if first date?
No.
Wouldn't be a first date movie.
I wouldn't care enough to show somebody this movie on a first date.
But yeah, so great movie. Any you want to cover anything else on it?
Yeah, I also liked how meta Arthur's character is, where he knows what's going on. Like
Yeah.
like he's self-aware. He knows that like he has no chance against this guy, and he's like, if there was like a movie about this, like I'd be the villain of the story, like
Yeah.
the Jewish white guy who came and just
Yeah.
stole you away from your childhood sweetheart. And I just thought that was so funny how that's like doesn't need to be spoken, but it's spoken, so all the characters know about it. And I thought that was funny.
I also loved before he meets Haesung, it had been after Nora's first visit with him, and she's like getting ready in the bathroom, and he's just walking around the kitchen,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, "Well, is he attractive?"
Yeah,
And she's like, "I think so."
that
And
hurt
then he's
me.
like, "Yeah, I know." He's like, "Well, are you attracted to him?" And she like pauses. And
dude,
doesn't
she
say
pauses
anything.
for like 10 seconds.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And I was thinking, this Haesung guy is not that attractive. Like, I think Nora's way out of his league.
Yeah.
But then when Arthur and Haesung first meet in the apartment,
Mhm.
and Haesung's like a head taller than him,
Yeah.
like chiseled jaw, and Arthur just looks like this little boy.
And he
was like,
realizes
he is
that
hot.
in the moment. He's
Yeah,
like
exactly.
looking him up and down like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh. He's
And you
like,
feel bad for Arthur too, because like he's so kind, and
I know, dude.
like he speaks a little bit of Korean, and so he's trying his best to communicate with Haesung.
yeah.
And like that scene at the bar, where this was another thing, like the cinematography and the framing of each scene. There's a scene at the bar where it's Nora sitting next to Haesung, and she's kind of shifted her shoulders towards Haesung to talk to him.
Yeah.
Arthur's on the other side, kind of at her back.
Mm-hmm.
And as the scene goes on, it's kind of like a wider shot. As the scene goes on and they start cutting Arthur out of the conversation, they switch to full Korean.
Mhm.
The framing cuts Arthur out as well.
Yeah.
And it gets really personal and up close with Nora and Haesung, and I thought that was just awesome.
Yeah. That was a great
But-
artistic choice.
Yeah,
And that's
so
where
good.
it's like, this is her film debut.
Her first
Her
movie.
first
yeah.
movie. Yeah. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's just such a mastery of the craft, that
It's so
she's
awesome.
able to frame the scene that way.
But it makes you hurt for Arthur.
Yeah.
It really
That's
hurts.
like literally something you'll probably watch like in film school,
yeah.
to
Yeah.
study a scene, how to convey emotions like that.
Oh, another really powerful scene like that is when the trip's over, Haesung's going back to Korea, South Korea, and they're standing outside of that garage with the blue door,
Yeah.
and he's waiting for his Uber, and she's like, "Oh, is it close?" And he's like, "Yeah, it'll be here in 2 minutes."
Mm-hmm.
And so that scene is set with a time limit, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
Because then you're like, how is this going to be resolved in these 2 minutes? What are they going to do?
Yeah.
And I don't want to spoil it, actually.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, go watch it. But it's an awesome scene, and
Yeah.
it just breaks you. So
I really liked that too. Here's a question. Who do you think is like the victim of this movie? Who's hurt most by what happens? Do you think it's Nora, Hae-sung, or do you think it's Arthur?
I think it's probably Hae-sung, because he's the one that, like, he's single. It didn't work out with his girlfriend. That's why he wanted to reach out to her again.
Yeah.
And he's the one that doesn't get like a happy ending as of right now.
Yeah.
Nora has to deal with kind of that regret or wondering how things would have turned out, but she still has a secure relationship. And even Arthur, I mean, all that would hurt, but at the end of the day, he knows Nora's not going to leave him. He knows that relationship's safe. So I think, yeah, definitely Hae-sung.
I think it's Arthur.
Really?
I think he has to go the rest of his relationship knowing that she probably would have been happier with somebody else. And he's always going to be a little bit insecure about that. Because he's already insecure. Like, even, I mean, you know, he allowed her to go on the, you know, to hang out with him originally because he trusts her.
Oh, yeah.
But he's obviously insecure that she might like him, you know? And about, you know, he's always going to wonder about the feelings. Are they still there? You know, how does she feel about me? You know, because he even said when they were like in bed, I mean, you tell me you love me, and sometimes I have trouble believing it, you know?
Yeah. And
she doesn't help. Obviously, she doesn't
No.
help at all. When he asks, like, is he attractive? And she's like, I think so. And then he goes, do you find him attractive? And she goes,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. You say no, and you say no immediately. You say, no, I'm only attracted to you, you know? And so he's just going to have to deal with that the rest of his life. They're not going to divorce each other.
Right.
Because they love each other. But he's always just going to have that feeling for the rest of his life, you know?
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah. Do you
But
change
don't
your
know.
side?
No, I still don't,
All right.
because
Come
like,
on.
she still loves him. Here's the thing. The love she has for Hae-sung is very different than the love she has for Arthur.
Yeah.
But I still think she genuinely loves him, and she wouldn't change the outcome.
You don't think so?
I think maybe.
Well,
but
I
that's-
don't think so. I actually don't think so either, but he's always going to wonder.
That's hurt. That hurts.
Yeah,
Ah, man, great stuff.
I know.
He also says that thing about that she sleep talks in Korean,
Yeah.
and like he feels bad that she thinks in a different language,
Mhm.
and he'll never be at that level, but
That there's like a part of her that he'll never
that he can't
understand.
access.
He can't
Yeah.
access, yeah.
Yeah, great movie. Tons of layers. You don't want to rewatch it and just
No, you know what I do. But I'm not going to watch it by myself. I'm going to watch
Yeah.
it again with whoever.
I'd like to watch it again with Zach.
Yeah.
It really hit Zach, dude. That guy was crying.
Was he? I didn't even look over.
He like put his head down. It was like bawling. I teared up at the end.
Really?
That hurt me, but
I didn't cry.
of course you didn't, dude.
I was scared. I felt more scared that she was going to leave Arthur.
Well, this movie isn't relatable to you. You never had to leave South Korea
That's
and leave
true.
your first love
You
behind.
don't know.
But no, yeah. It was really good. Please go watch it.
Yeah.
I would recommend it to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fantastic movie. And it is a slow burn. So if
It
you're not
is a
okay with
slow
that,
burn.
that sucks. But
But it is interesting as you go along too.
yeah.
So you should be invested.
And it's a short movie, less than 2 hours. Knock it out.
Yeah, come
100
on.
minutes. So
Yeah.
anyway.
Dude, and you know what's funny? We were leaving the theater. You saw that little kid who was like, "Let's go see the Flash" or something. And you were like, "Don't." Or what'd you say? You were
I
like,
said don't. It's bad. And I hope he heard me. I hope he went
I
and told
know.
his
Dude,
parents.
he definitely heard you. You said it right to him.
He was like,
It's just
right
so
in front
funny
of
how
me.
strongly we feel about that movie that you could just
Dude.
say that to a kid without his parents there.
Yeah. Well, he needs to know. And I hope he
does.
remembers that the rest of his life. Hey, this guy, when we've made it big, you and I,
Uh-huh.
he'll see us on a billboard or something.
Yeah.
And be like, that guy told me not to see The Flash.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, just touching on The Flash. It is so crazy. I've talked to so many people who have been like, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I just went in with low expectations.
Yeah.
Like, it was fine. I was like, I went in with the lowest expectations for any movie I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it was bad. Whatever. Who cares? Not on that.
Dude, I'm going crazy.
I would see Past Lives 1,000 more times before I see The Flash.
Yeah. No.
And then I would sprinkle in 500
I'll never watch
viewings.
The Flash again.
Yeah, no.
Of course not. Why would you do that to yourself? Yeah.
Seriously. You'll probably give yourself a tumor if you watch this more than once, like a brain tumor.
Yeah.
So
All right.
don't do
So
that.
that's pretty much it. Next week, we're going to talk Indiana Jones,
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so. Comes out the 30th,
the 30th.
29th.
Okay. So we'll see it Thursday, right?
Yeah.
And then
So that's going to be we've initially announced the episodes drop on Friday.
Mhm.
We've been dropping them pretty consistently on Saturday, and that's
Yeah.
because we see a movie on Thursday, have to record on Friday
Mhm.
and drop on Saturday. So just going forward, if you're a viewer or a listener that has been consistent, we're not dropping on Fridays very much
Saturdays.
until movie season kind of slows down, I guess, and then we revisit older classics. We can probably release on Friday, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
But we got a lot of stuff we're going to have to cover coming up here. So
Yeah, this summer's nonstop until like the end of September.
Yeah.
Well, I think maybe September's kind of weak, and then November and October are pretty big. So
Okay.
anyway,
All right.
okay. Well, should we sign us off?
We should.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank
for
you for
fixating
fixating
on
on film with
with
us.